Thank you, Veronica, for the interruption. Um, some people get introduced, I get interrupted. Anyway, I'm glad to be here tonight, and not going to talk about mediation arbitration. It's strictly wealth. In fact, but before I start, though, I'd like to just say this, though. There are two kinds of people in the world, and one of those persons is when the person enters the room, everybody smiles. Then the other kind of person is when the person leaves the room, everybody smiles. So just figure out which one of you. But I want to start, and you'll see on the screen the W equals ME squared 3, well, Jeopardy. And what does that mean? And if I took Rita and Will and kind of summed it up in a different way, this is what is called, if you really look at what wealth is generational. At minimum, it's 3 generations. That's what that means. And what that means is, if you defined it, so what is a wealth? Because one of the perspectives and principles for any of us to really get where we need to go in the planning and being wealthy and thinking rich is we got to understand what is it? What is real wealth? It's always based on 3 generations, with 3 streams of income, with 3 investments, having read 3 wealth books, with 3 diversified wealth perspectives. Now, Veronica told you I wrote 10 books. The reality is I wrote 16. And I wrote them all in my sleep. So thinking and getting rich starts, where does it start? Right here. If you think that you're rich, if you think that you're wealthy, that's what you are. It starts with a wealth mindset. You have to think that you are it kind of goes back when piggybacking on what Will said, what value do you have? How do you look at yourself in the mirror and beyond the mirror? Do you see yourself touching the stars? You develop a financial literacy knowledge because you got to have that knowledge. That's one of the biggest issues with wealth and being rich. People just don't know, do they? How many people here know everything they need to know about wealth? Okay, thank you. Complete a financial wealth assessment. See, one of the things is, if you assess where you are, Rita said, a lot of times people don't know where their money is. And what I discovered in working with people myself with wealth is, a lot of times people don't know where their surplus money is. And that's one of the issues that we all need to know. Where does your money come from, but where is your money beyond just the spending of it? Here's a question. How do we overcome economic disparity and poverty? I need some water, my mouth's getting dry. The first thing is and there's many things that you can do, but one of them is entrepreneurship, owning your own company and increasing your profits and wealth. How many people here own their own company? Anybody? Yeah, give them a big hand. Owning something. There's nothing wrong with owning your own. Here's the thing, though. A lot of times people don't understand is you can work for somebody and still own something. Thank you. Financial investments, investing monies into your own wealth, into your own bank. A lot of times people don't realize is when you think and grow rich, you're really developing your own bank. Not somebody else's. It's yours. You know, I ask people this question, which plantation do you want to work on? Theirs or heirs? Okay, somebody. Hello. You can answer that when we finish, okay? Financial plans, as you know, man, has been alluded to. It needs to be 5 years because, you know what I mean, you don't want to just do something. You want to have some time because time is, as Rita said, time is a factor. And then you have what I call, how many people go get a medical exam, physical exam every year from their doctors so they won't die quick? I get a physical exam every year too, but guess what you ought to do also? You ought to get what? Financial exam yearly so you won't get poor quick. So you can get rich. Think and go rich. Think and get rich. And then you have this one here, use the 75 rule versus the 150 rule. Anybody know what that is? 75 to 25 rule to the 150 rule. I was at the university doing a same kind of seminar, and I had a bunch of college students in there, and one of the boys said, "Oh, Doc, I know what it is." He said, "I want the 150 rule." And I just looked and I said, "Okay." So I said, "Any others?" And everybody else didn't say nothing. So all of a sudden, I said, "Son, the 75-25 rule is you spend 75 and you invest 25, and the 150 rule is that's when you spend 50% more than what your income and revenue is, and you be poor." So you have to know the difference. The 75-25 rule is the one that you want to live by. And then you have a goal to become, as Rita said it, debt free. And I'm, you know, I can tell you story after story. I'm debt free though. That's the main story I want you to know. And I agree with Will. It's all about God. I agree with him on that. And then another question, how to become rich, and I won't go into it, in 10 easy ways. And you can get that from me. If you contact Veronica, I give you, you can have that. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but there's 10 easy ways. This is another story. Millennial who had $2 in his pocket. Let me tell you something. A lot of times I have people asking me, they say, "Dr. Steele, I ain't got no money." And they think because they don't have any money or they have $2, they can't think and get rich. But I got a story about somebody that I actually met, had $2 in his pocket. Guess what? And now he's a millionaire. And you know what? Some of you sitting in these chairs can be in the same situation. But it all goes back to, what do you see in the mirror? I'm using Will's stuff because I agree with him. What do you see? How do you value who you are? The creation listen, how do you look at yourself as a queen and a king? Because that makes all the difference. Because rich and wealth starts where? Right here. Right here. I'm not going to read the whole story, but I just want to just share it so you'll know that there's possibilities. And then if you look at it, this is different ways you can look at it. There are people who have what we call not enough, and they stay there because it's how they look at themselves, how you value who you are. Then there's people who have just enough, and they stop right there. But guess what? When you cross right there, when you're beginning to move into what we call slightly more, and then you move into the bigger one, more than enough, life changes because it's all changes in heart, mind, and spirit. And of course, we can go into many, many other factors of it, you know what I mean, which plays in income level, employment, debt to income ratio. Whether you have life insurance investment, your home value, different investment IRAs, uh, business ownership, trust funds, stocks, annuities, commercial. There's no, I can't read all that, but at least you hear it, you see it, and you can have access to it if you like. So talk to Will, talk to Rita, talk to me, same difference. Because I like to see people who have and who are doing well. And that's it. Any, that's it. I just want to thank you all very, very much for you being here. And maybe one day when you look in the mirror and you're thinking not only the richness of your mind, but the richness of your body, the richness of your soul, but guess what? Your bank will be rich as well. Thank you very much.